What does that mean to the heart and soul of this congregation? Most of them have never heard of Philadelphia outside of cheesesteaks and football. It's hardly the epicenter of interior design. When I began, people said what I wanted to achieve was impossible. You are only one person, they said. But when I was a child, I needed only one person. A bathroom with homemade Black Santa wallpaper created with paint and a Santa-shaped sponge. In every room, save Radar's, their home was awash in Black Santadom, plaster and plastic and marble and clay and wood and resin and cloth. In total, Radar's parents owned more than 1,200 Black Santas of various sorts. So did any of those phrases mean anything to you? They may have if you read the books, otherwise they probably meant nothing. I mean, you understood the words, I'm sure, but they didn't really have a lot of meaning. And thus begins the age-old discussion on context. And my stance on it, context matters. I'm Ava Kelly, and this is Sing, Love, Repeat, a web series where we have real, open, honest conversations about music. In this episode, I want to have a conversation about context and the role it plays in the perception and experience of music. Context can be one of those hot topics, like when we start discussing religious literature, a discussion we're not going to get into here. But you know what I mean. Context can change the meaning of anything, whether you start talking about song lyrics or a banana. Time and place matters. I just want to start with classical music. So technically, according to my diploma, I'm a classically trained singer. And even though I have no wish to ever sing opera ever again, I have a real appreciation for classical music. So aside from the whole this is super fun to sing really high notes that only bats and some species of dogs can hear, classical music really started to interest me when I put it into context. First, the song and the piece itself, and then historically and socially speaking. Now, I do want to say that when we're talking about classical music, a lot of times there's this language barrier, and that's the first thing we have to get over. If you're a classical singer who's ever sung a piece without translating it first, for shame. Music is first and foremost about communicating. And how can you communicate something if you don't know what it is that you're saying? Like when I was in Ghana, all of these guys would walk around wearing shirts that said, "I'm stupid," but it was in German, so they didn't know they were walking around wearing shirts that said, "I'm stupid." See the problem if you don't translate. So once we get past all that language stuff, I think people tend to forget that classical music as we think of it today was essentially popular music when people first started listening to it. I mean, the Magic Flute, people watch that like they binge watch House of Cards. Well, maybe not exactly like they watch House of Cards. I mean, they didn't have to wait desperately for the third season to come out. But, it wasn't inaccessible or stuffy. This was opera for the people. So you can also look at the social context of music, and that's when things get really crazy. Like Wagner and Strauss and their role within the Nazi regime, and Stravinsky and Shostakovich and how wrapped up they were in Russian politics. I mean, music gets a lot more interesting when you know who wrote it and why. If you're interested in this stuff, a dude named Alex Ross writes some really cool things about it, especially his book called The Rest is Noise. One of my favorite authors, and human beings in general, is John Green, and he talks a lot about how messages and symbols in his book, it doesn't matter what they mean to him. It doesn't matter how he interprets them. Books belong to their readers. So is it the same in music? I mean, do songs belong to their listeners? It matters to me, and it interests me how a song was written. One of my favorite pop songs last year was Brave by Sarah Bareilles. And I found out that she actually wrote this song for a friend who was trying to come out to his friends and family. And knowing that story completely changed the song for me, but in a great way. Then there's also the context that songs have for us personally. When, where, and who you're with when you first listen to a song can have a great effect on that experience. And the next time you hear it, all those things can come back. In a way, music can recreate its original context for us. Like my mom and I used to sing spirituals in the car. She taught me when I went down to the river to pray and swing Low Sweet Chariot. And then when I got older, I remember learning all the verses and the harmonies to Come Thou Fountain of Every Blessing. Now when I hear those songs, I remember my mom and how we spent time together. And we all have those songs that remind us of the perfect moment with the perfect person. I have a few actually. I pity whoever has to sing at our wedding, but you know what I mean. Our personal context of music can have a great effect not only on that first experience of music, but every time we hear it after that. So what do y'all think about context? Have certain songs changed your life? Have certain songs changed for you after the context has changed? Did you used to be one of those people who was bored to tears by classical music, but maybe after learning the context, you just can't get enough? Let's continue this discussion in comments or on the social media things. I'm Ava Kelly. This is Sing, Love, Repeat, and I'll see y'all next time.